So, what is the site? What you see here is the site outlined there in magenta and kind of more saturated in the aerial. And you can see there are a few defined uses: Coaches Field, Kennelly Skate Park, the city courtyard on the site area here, and it is comprised of the city-owned parcels in Moraga Canyon, as well as the road right of way along Moraga Avenue. The site has a lot of topography, over 300 feet of fall across the site. See the kind of high elevation of about 650 feet above sea level up against Max Welton, all the way down to, almost 325 or so down where the site drains to the cemetery property. And even Moraga Avenue has quite a lot of grade change, over 100, 150 feet of grade change from one end of our site to the next, from kind of east to west. With this topography also comes, quite a bit of steep slopes. And so this is a slope analysis. And this basically shows where it's easier or harder to develop. And so the green areas are easier, flatter areas. And so, not surprisingly, Coaches Field is green. You can also see that parts of the courtyard are green. And then, there's little bits of green and into yellow along the Blair Park open space. But the orange and red are much steeper slopes. The orange areas are potentially developable, but you're definitely going to have to move some earth to make that happen. Whereas the red areas are really challenging. If there's small areas, you can maybe work through them, but kind of larger swaths of red area are very challenging to develop. We're also being very cognizant of wildfire. And while the site is technically not in a high or very high fire hazard zone, a wildfire has come up to and slightly into the site. The Rock Ridge fire in 1991 came just into the site from the north. And so we want to be very attentive to any risks that may exist here. And so while, there's kind of large scale mapping that we can look at, we really wanted to do a more detailed analysis. And so we had a wildfire consultant actually look at our site specifically and map out different risk levels on the site. And these somewhat relate to existing vegetation, prevailing wind patterns, topography. And so some of those things, can change, right? Vegetation can change, but wind patterns and topography may not be as easy to change. And so this map may change depending on development some, but we want to be cognizant of some of the risks that could exist. We're also, really understanding the existing uses in the site. We've met several times with the Public Works as well as Parks and Rec to understand uses both on the city side, on recreation side, and understand how we can maybe improve these uses. Could they be altered? Could even the location change? Additionally, we're also looking at the infrastructure in the site. This is one map that shows some of the infrastructure. This is specifically talking about the sewer mains. And what we found is that in general, infrastructure exists around the site. Certainly the hard utilities, meaning electricity, telecommunications, those are much easier to provide to this site. Sewer lines exist. There may need to be some improvements, but by and large, infrastructure is nearby. Stormwater would be another one, and again, by and large, it's there. There may need to be some improvements. We did do a community survey throughout the fall, ran from September 20th to October 20th, and we had over 1,100 community members participate. And so we're really excited about that number. At the community workshop, they gave away that gift certificate, and it was advertised in all kinds of places around the city. And so just really excited about the response, excited that people were interested enough to give us their thoughts about this project. Some of the questions we asked is we asked you when people visit Moraga Canyon, how do they typically spend their time there? And a lot of people are just commuting and driving through. But then, there's almost as many people are using it for some of the holiday functions, the Christmas tree lot, pumpkin patch. There's certainly, a big rec use between soccer, nature, softball, also, dog walking, and other uses there. Another question we asked is, depending upon the recommendations and improvements that could be made there, what are the benefits that might be most important to people? Improving bike and pedestrian access was the number one, and the number two was creating housing for people at different income levels. Not too far behind was improving emergency readiness, safety, and beautifying the gateway into Piedmont. And finally, another question: how often do you and your family visit Moraga Canyon, including Coaches Field, Blair Park, Open Space, Kelly Skate Park, and the Courtyard? Some people just drive through, but don't always stop and visit, similar to our first question. But then, quite a few people visiting once a week or more, a few times a year, a few times a month. And we had one kind of more qualitative question. We had an open-ended question of kind of what are the qualities of Moraga Canyon that people value the most, and a good variety of responses. People recognize the Coaches Field as a great space for families and kids to play. People appreciating the Christmas tree lot and pumpkin patch, the amazing views that are on the site, open space, peace, serenity of the environment, and then value in having the corporation yard nearby and in an area that could be an important safety route.